if they don't get a Myles Garrett, even a short-term deal for Khalil Mack, believe it or not. Like, bring back Khalil Mack on a short-term deal. He's had some good years recently. You could do worse than him.
Is that the Bears made a couple of cuts that are going to save them almost $11 million in cap space for next season. Demarcus Walker on the way out, as well as Gerald Everett. Question for you guys in terms of the motive behind the moves. Do you think the motive behind those two cuts were more for creating cap space and maybe as an avenue to have more room to go out and trade for a guy like a Myles Garrett? Or is it more of just new regime in here molding the roster to the fit of the coaches?
The latter in my eyes.
You do?
Yeah.
So you think this is Dennis Allen saying, these are not my, or Dennis Allen for Demarcus Walker, and then Gerald Everett was just a failure, right? Either way, I think Gerald Everett was going to get cut. He just didn't produce. He was making too much money. He was not going to fit. So it was checking every box that he was going to get cut.
Yeah, Everett for sure. Like, that was kind of a foregone conclusion. But Walker, I guess, is a little more interesting.
Because there's no starting edge rusher now opposite Montez Sweat.
You just can't, like in my book, unless they're young players, you could have a rotation, but I think you've got to have a better premier player on that side too. You just can't say, especially with Montez Sweat, not being a top-of-the-line guy. Like, Montez Sweat is maybe top of the second-tier guys, but he's paid like a premier guy, that you just have to have a better headliner on the other side too. And the better of the rotation guys can't be Demarcus Walker, even if he's playing some inside, some outside. There's been talk, too. I know there are some people on social media who wouldn't mind if they don't get a Myles Garrett, even a short-term deal for Khalil Mack, believe it or not. Like, bring back Khalil Mack on a short-term deal. He's had some good years recently. You could do worse than him.
Can I throw out a couple names? Because there are a couple others. So Khalil Mack's one of them. Chase Young is another who
played for Dennis Allen.
And then the Chargers are also expected to cut Joey Bosa.
Like that. What kind of a deal? Like, I was about to yell out the words "buy low," but is Joey even though
I would guess
he's
Joey
hurt,
Bosa would probably get something similar to what Chase Young got.
You still don't think because of the name brand that he would get more? Like, I'm worried that would he truly be a buy low category guy?
Because, well, Chase Young was a lot younger, too. Like, what's Joey Bosa now? Probably like 29, 30 years old. 30 years old.
He's played 28 games in the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's the issue.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
If you could get him, if the price is right, is he worth taking a shot at because of the premier talent?
More so than Young. I'm kind of out on Young. Like, it just hasn't worked, and at some point you got to realize it's him and not the situation.
The two names, the two teams that I've read about Chase Young are the Bears because of the Dennis Allen connection, and then isn't it the Chargers too because of the Jim Harbaugh connection? Did he coach him at Michigan? Was he his coach?
No, he was at Ohio State.
Oh, at Ohio. He played against him at Ohio State, I meant.
Could you imagine the return of the Mac, though? That'd be crazy.
Yeah,
you could do worse. I mean,
the question is the money, right, for Mac. Like,
you got to get him at a decent price.
I feel like you don't get any free agents they're rare to get like at a good price because he's got name value.
Yeah.
He still gets, like, even though last year wasn't as good as 2 years ago, somebody I think is going to talk themselves into paying decent money for Mac.
Well, what kind of years do these guys want at this
Yeah.
age, right? Like, can we get them on a 2-year? We have the money to give them a lot of money for 2 years, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably what's going to end up happening is it might be a 3-year deal, but in all reality it's 2 because you can get off of it after 2 years. And which team is willing to give him the most? I bet you that's how it's going to go. That's how it always does in free agency.
I'm looking at Mac's numbers now because they do fluctuate quite a bit. I know he plays the run well too, so it's not just about sacks, but so he had 6 sacks this year, though he didn't make the Pro Bowl. He had 17 sacks a year ago. Would that shock you?
I remember, didn't he have
he had a 5.5 sack game against someone that he just tortured.
That just buoyed his numbers.
Now, it was still a double-digit sack season, so
even
it was
if
still
you take
productive.
that game out, that's still A
And no, it's still a
12-sack
great season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 sacks before that, 6, 9, 8.5. And then he had those years.
He had that year he had 6 sacks against the Raiders, and who was their quarterback?
A revenge game.
Aiden O'Connell. I think it was Aiden O'Connell's rookie year, and he didn't completely know what was going on. Khalil Mack had 6 sacks.
He made the Pro Bowl in all 3 of his years with the Chargers. Did you know that?
Yeah, but last year, I think some people thought he
Just reputation.
Yes.
Ooh, Bosa only had 5 last year?
Yeah, and he played 14 games, and then like you said, Eddie, the 2 years before he played 5 and 4 games or something like that. That's Joey Bosa. It all comes down to like what they're willing to sign up for, and it always feels like some team overpays the guy who's got name brand recognition.